This video is intended for people that are age 65 or older and who are thinking about buying a motorcycle and getting into riding, either for the first time or after a long absence. As improbable as starting this hobby sounds after age 65, this is a demographic that is continuing to grow. I got back into riding at age 68 and I am now 70. I intend to keep riding as long as I am mentally and physically fit, in spite of the fact that I have already had one accident where I went over the handlebars. But I walked away without a scratch because I was lucky enough to land in some soft dirt and leaves and was wearing a lot of protective gear. Instead of it deterring me from continuing to ride, I was eager to learn from my mistake, get back on the bike, and keep having fun. I am absolutely certain my accident had nothing to do with my age, but rather my limited riding skills. But more on that later. Making the decision to get into biking should be looked at like a journey that requires certain steps. The first step is to enroll in a motorcycle safety course. You should consider doing this even before shopping for a bike, because the bike you think you want may change after taking the safety course. At least it did for me. The next step will be to get your motorcycle license, because there's no point in buying a motorcycle if you can't pass the test. The training course will tell you if you're a biker, if you are still having fun and feel challenged in spite of your fear or lack of ability. And if so, the safety course may also save your life. And practically, passing the safety course will allow you to skip the riding portion of your DMV exam when getting your motorcycle license. It will also provide you with discounts on your insurance, as well as a discount if you decide to buy a new bike. A lot of dealers offer discounts on their new bikes to those who pass a safety course. Dealers are also a good source of information about safety courses. They will have brochures and schedules on the safety courses in your area. The next step will be choosing the right bike for you. When I got back into it, I began by shopping for a bike before taking the safety course. The bike I thought I wanted, which was a Triumph, was not the bike I ended up buying. The salesman suggested I was putting the cart before the horse. He was the first experienced biker that told me to take the safety course first to find out if I was a biker. Great advice, and no truer words, because I never went back. Instead, I bought a used Honda Rebel 250, the same model the college provided in their safety course. Admittedly, I am small in stature at 5'6" and 135 pounds, and I was a little intimidated by the weight of the larger bikes. Originally, I was attracted to the Triumph because it was lighter than a Harley, and it was the bike I became familiar with as a teenager. But the Honda Rebel, like the bike in this video, was big enough for me and was half the weight of the Triumph. A Rebel 250 weighs 325 pounds with a full tank. The Triumph weighs 650 pounds, and Harleys weigh between 850 and 950 pounds depending upon the model. Used, the Rebel I bought was only $2,300 compared to a new Triumph, which was $21,000 out the door. As a starter bike, getting the Rebel made a lot more sense than getting a bigger bike that was harder to handle and 8 times more expensive. At only $2,300, I figured I could afford to ride it and consider upgrading when I was more proficient. If I sold it tomorrow, I am sure I could still get $2,300 for it. And the Rebel 250 can reach speeds of 75 to 80 miles an hour on the highway, which for me is irrelevant because most of my riding is on backcountry roads, like those in this video, which is why I still haven't upgraded. But the weight should not be minimized. For those of you who do not know any better, bikes are heavy and always played down in the movies. How many times have we seen badass women in a movie go down on a bike, but get right back up, raise the bike by the handlebars and ride off. Since movies are going for effect, big bikes are always depicted, like the Harley. But not many men have the strength to pick up a 900-pound bike by the handlebars. There's a technique for raising heavy bikes that even a small woman could master, but it's not by the handlebars. You have to turn your back to the bike, squat down and bring it up using your leg muscles, not your upper body or back. But that technique would not play well in the movies. Weight is not an issue when you're riding, only when you need to walk it back to park it. If the bike gets over 10 degrees from vertical, your leg strength may not be adequate to keep it from going down. I would venture to bet some percentage of Harley owners have dropped their bikes trying to park it, although they are not likely to admit it. But if you are 5'10 or taller, the Rebel 250 may be too small for you, but getting a lighter starter bike that fits you is still a good idea. Also, the advantage of getting a used starter bike is that you won't feel as bad if you damage it in an accident or drop it in a parking lot. My accident didn't hurt me, but it did damage my bike. If I had told the insurance company, they would have salvaged it and paid me what it was worth. But I wanted to fix it, partly as penance for my mistake and partly for the challenge of it. The repairs cost me $1,000, but even the repairs were fun, and now it's like new. But buying a used bike requires research and patience. You will most likely need to trailer it back home if you buy it from a private party, and towing companies aren't cheap. Even though you may have gotten your license, you may not be ready to ride it home because you may not have enough experience and you may not even own a helmet. After all, there would be no reason to buy your riding gear before you own the bike. If you buy a used bike from a dealer, no problem. They can make arrangements to deliver it. When I decided to get a used Rebel, I originally wanted to get a 500 because it was about the same size, maybe 70 pounds heavier, but capable of reaching speeds of 100 miles an hour on the highway. Also, I might have kept it longer before feeling the need to upgrade. But there were no Rebel 500s on Craigslist when I was shopping for bikes in my area, and the dealers wanted between $6,000 and $8,000 for a used one. I am happy with the decision to get the 250, but on paper, if you are taller than 5'8", a used 500 from a dealer might make more sense. From the standpoint of expenses, your riding gear will cost at least $600 or more. Some helmets like the Arai or Shoei can cost $500 to $4,000 alone. These are helmets built for racing. You will not need a helmet of that caliber, but you will want a helmet that meets certain certifications, Snell, ECE, and DOT, to name a few. So figure at least $250 for the helmet. A leather jacket looks cool, but not as practical as a mesh jacket that comes with a waterproof, removable liner and has armor pads in the elbows, shoulders, and back. In the winter, the liner is waterproof and a great windbreak. In the summer, the liner comes out, which allows air to flow right through it, providing great ventilation. Altogether, I spent $800 for a helmet, jacket, pants, boots, and gloves, all of which may have saved me from injury in my accident. Now, I won't go out the driveway without wearing all of that gear. That is why I like to say I'm a picnic biker, because I only ride in picnic weather, which is in the 70s. I have ridden in temperatures as low as 30 degrees and as high as 98. But I quickly learned why bother. I live in California, so I only need to wait a couple of days for the weather to improve. I will not ride in the rain or in smoky conditions, which seems to be getting more frequent in the last couple of years. So on average, I ride about once a week in the summer and about every 20 days in the winter. If you are mechanically inclined, you may also want to invest in a few tools to make minor repairs and perform routine maintenance, like cleaning the chain and changing the oil. After buying my bike, I had to get new tires, which required purchasing special jack stands so I could remove the wheels. The rule of thumb is that you should replace your tires every 5 years, regardless of the tread depth. I took the rims to the same vendor I bought the riding gear from, and they gave me a discount on the total package. After riding the bike for a month, I also decided to buy a windshield because at 65 miles an hour, I felt like a sail in a hurricane. I also bought saddlebags when I wanted to pick up a few things at the store or just grab a burger. Even though I only paid $2,300 for the bike, in the 3 years I have owned it, I have spent about $6,800. I have logged about 100 hours on the bike, so amortizing the total costs by the time, I figure it has cost me about $100 an hour to ride the bike. This may sound like a lot, but I do believe there is such a thing as an emotional return on investment, and that cost will go down the longer I keep the bike. When I was in my 20s, I bought an airplane, which was much more expensive than the bike, but it had a great emotional return on investment. And I have always been grateful that I allowed myself that experience, even though it almost bankrupted me to own it. So this motorcycle investment for me has really been worth it. I want to say a little more about my accident, because it was one of the most common mistakes beginners make. I was pushing myself through the curves like you are seeing on this video, trying to gain leaning proficiency going around curves. I was going faster than I was comfortable, and I got into a left downhill curve a little too fast and didn't lean enough. This caused me to swing wide, and I hit a tire that was laying at the edge of the road. This error in judgment and skill could have happened at any age. This was the first downhill curve I had come across and didn't realize how gravity would increase the speed of the bike. Only experience can teach you the equation for the right amount of lean considering the speed of the bike and the radius of the curve. The lesson I took from the accident was to never ride beyond your comfort zone and don't think you need to push yourself to develop proficiency. Give yourself time to develop your riding skills. They will evolve over time. Keep your riding routes simple with the least amount of traffic or intersections where most accidents occur. In time, it's your body that will learn to ride, not your mind. Muscle memory is what you are waiting for. Muscle memory is what will keep you safe because it will give you confidence and free you from the routine activities like shifting, braking, and leaning, so you can stay focused on your situational awareness. I have to admit, even now when I think about taking the bike out, I mentally list all of the reasons it's a bad idea. But the minute I swing my leg over the seat and pull the helmet over my head, I feel like 20 again. I've installed a Bluetooth headset onto my helmet which I link to my iPhone mounted on the handlebars. I stream Pandora while I ride, which I find very cathartic. While I'm riding, I feel 40 years younger, and like my airplane before, I am grateful for allowing myself this riding experience.